Welcome to the single story home for sale in Las Vegas. We're in Henderson here in 89052 in a great location. And I have this single story home that's been completely remodeled inside. It's staged to sell so you can see kind of how the spaces look and what they're gonna look like when you move your stuff in here. We have a 3-car garage, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. We're about 30 minutes from downtown Summerlin, 25 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. And this home's only been on the market for 7 days. It's listed for $685,000. I'm Andrew Guiant with Simply Vegas. I'm your local licensed realtor and expert here in Southern Nevada, Las Vegas, Henderson, Summerlin. And we're gonna go inside. We're gonna tour this home top to bottom today. You can see the front yard's been re-landscaped as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment, being that it's 115 degrees almost daily out here. But don't worry, the heat is definitely manageable. So if you're coming from California, you're coming from another state, we have ways to work around it. So anyways, we're gonna go inside, we're gonna tour this home, and we're gonna talk about a couple things inside as well, mainly the buyer commission and how that affects your pockets. There may be rumblings going around in the general public about rule changes with commissions and buyer commissions and seller commissions. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well as we walk through here, and really how it affects you as a buyer and your cash in your pocket. So, and then also a tip on how I'm going to save you that cash as well. So we're going to go inside, tour this 4-bedroom, 2-bath with the 3-car garage, single story right now, listed for $685,000, 2,101 square feet. Follow me, let's go take a look. All right, here we are. So we're in 89052 of Henderson, single story home for sale with the 3-car garage. I love the curb appeal on this home. They have redone most of the landscape out front. And I said we'd talk a little bit more about that. So this palm tree was here. Everything else is gonna be new. And then this tree over on the right side is also mature and been here a while, but everything else, they redid the rocks. And then I wanted to show you the plants. So when you replant things and it's 115 degrees every day, they're gonna get a little burnt. It's real tough for plants to kind of come in and get settled and find their way when it's this hot outside. Now, if you see this plant, it's got a lot of burnt leaves. It might make it, it might not. These are probably $10 plants at Star Nursery. We have a really big nursery right down the road here that sells everything Las Vegas, all the types of plants for desert that you want to see. But I wanted to show you a couple things. So yeah, you're getting a lot of burnout plants here, which is actually expected when it's this warm. Now this plant is in the shade, and look, it's doing much nicer, not quite as burnout. So first thing, we want to check the irrigation. Right now you're watering 3 times a day and 6 days a week if you want to keep these plants alive. So we want to make sure that's going. I love the stonework on the home as well. You can see kind of the elevation has the stonework. We'll look down the right. We do see a big AC unit. And when was this home built? I didn't tell you that. Built in 1999, so that may be an original unit from 1999. Depending on how it's been maintained, it may still be running great. It is nice and cool inside, so your inspector will definitely check that out for you. But if we look at these plants here, again, you're gonna see they're pretty burnt up, a little bit dried out. I'm thinking it's less the irrigation and more just the temperatures out here. So, one thing to note, the lighter the leaf, the better it does in the sun. Obviously succulents, cactus, a lot of those can take direct sun all day. But when you buy plants, you want to see how much sunlight they can handle and how much temperature they can handle. It's been an extra hot summer here. So yeah, not surprised. Some of these will make it. You might have to replace a few of them, but really not a big deal. We do have the brand new PVB valve there. That's the pressure vacuum breaker. Keeps the irrigation water from mixing with the water for the interior of the home. And basically these need to be covered up as well. It does have a copper top, which is nicer than the plastic, but you do want to get that covered. It's about 25 bucks. It'll protect it from the heat and then more importantly, the cold, so it doesn't freeze on you. And basically it has two valves there, and when they're parallel, they're on. When you turn to perpendicular, they're going to be turned off there. So, but yeah, you can see just real clean desert landscape. And yeah, you probably just have a couple $100 of plants here. So if you do lose some, you know, it's just something that may happen. Not an ideal time to plant these plants. And they've probably been planted in the last month, which has really just been the hottest point of the year so far. We do have a fenced in yard. There's a small retaining wall here. You see the gate going out to that private yard, which we'll be out to in a minute. They did change the front lights out as well. You can see a modern lighting on the front there, and we do have this overhang here, covered entrance. I like the window work around this door. And we'll go inside and take a look. All right, so as we walk in, a couple things we noticed right away. We do have a beautiful dining light there that I really like. And then this recessed lighting, you can just see it around. Just brightened up this room so much. I really like what they did with that recessed lighting, LEDs up there. Lots of windows with natural light as well. This house is facing west, so we do have the sun kind of right here right now. There is a covered patio that we'll take a look at, and that's kind of keeping the bright sun out from the morning. Initially to the left here, we do have a coat closet. And that's nice to see right off the front door. All white paint, all black matte hardware. You're gonna see around the door stops, the handles, the hinges. And they have this 6-inch white modern baseboard, and then these beautiful vaulted ceilings here. And those go up to about 13 or 14 feet in the middle. The edge is going to be about 9 feet on the edges there. So yeah, just opens up this open floor plan. So we're going to check out these areas in just a moment. We'll start off to the right. Again, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. If it's your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss these tours. I put them out all the time. They come out almost daily. And then if you like my tours and like my channel, just go ahead and hit that thumbs up at the bottom there. Really helps my channel, helps promote it, and helps support me. So I thank you for that. Again, great paint job. And immediately to the right, we're gonna have this first bedroom. Now this is the only bedroom without a walk-in closet. You can see a great big window looking out to the front side of the home. We do have vaulted ceiling in the bedroom as well. And then we have an extra wide closet. You know, like I said, it's the only one without walk-ins. We got 3 walk-in closets that we're gonna see on the other 3 bedrooms. They have replaced all of the plugs as well. And just super clean. And then we went ahead and put in an LED light up there, or they did, not we. It is wired for ceiling fan, indicated by the 3 switches. One switch is going to control the light, one switch is going to control the fan, the other switch is going to control the half hot, in which case your inspector will tell you which one is the half hot because they're all right side up. Typically it's the one that's face down. So yeah, really nice clean bedrooms here. So that's going to be bedroom number 1. Come back out and make a right here. So this is going to be the full bath here for these 3 shared bedrooms. We'll get out there in just a moment. And this is going to be the laundry room here. It is a pass-through laundry room. It is very wide. They did do a black matte cabinet here with the soft close. Those look to be new, shaker style with the gold handles. I do really like that. Then you can see just the setup. You have a gas dryer there. And then you can see there's just extra space in here as well. You could put a nice little valet here with a bench, place for shoes, or do some shelving or rod for the actual laundry. So versatile, and they left it open so you can decide what goes there. A lot of the times these renovators will put something there and then you don't have a choice. You either get that valet or the setup for the laundry room. I think it's better because you get to choose. And out into this garage. So a nice sized 3-car garage. And the way we can tell that is essentially we have the single car and the 2-car. And then we look at how much space is on the side, how much is in the middle, how much is on this side. So it's not going to be tight for 3 cars. You have plenty of room, judging by the space over here and the space here. We do only have the garage door opener on this 2-car, and this 3rd car is not going to have it. But you can see it is ready to go. You have the plug there, and I'm sure the wire's inside there that runs to the wall behind me if you did want to add the 3rd car. You have your irrigation control and then your water shutoff and water pressure valve there on the right. These garage doors are not insulated, but it is fairly cool in here compared to outside. And then a nice epoxy, kind of a tan colored epoxy here as well. And they went ahead and put a LED on the side wall here. And it looks like they redid the ceiling, retextured, repainted it. And that's how they were able to move this light, because I'm pretty sure that's not where the light started out. And then we have one of these crack seams here. It's not a crack, it's just a seam in the drywall. And that's very common in Las Vegas. You'll see it on houses that have been around a little while. Essentially what happens is it's so cold and then so hot in Las Vegas that the house expands and contracts as winter and summer go. And after years, basically the drywall just separates a little bit and you get these little hairline cracks basically through the drywall seams, and not a big deal. Once you get them, they're hard to cover up. They tried to cover this one up, which actually makes it more noticeable. As long as it's only along the seams and straight lines, it shouldn't be an issue. But again, your inspector will look at that and let you know the severity. Not a fan of painting the doorbell there, but hey, you know, as long as it works, I guess. Your electric panel, they painted also. It looks like they just sprayed out this whole garage. And then this is a GFCI. When you see the little green light here, if there's a light or something in your house is not getting power, usually you want to check these and make sure it's not a red light. Basically, you just hit the reset button and it pops back on. Sometimes it's just a kind of a power surge that knocks them off. Otherwise, you know, you need to find out why something is tripping it. If you push the reset button and you turn it back on and it immediately pops off again, there's probably some sort of short or something that's causing it to do that. So just a little tip there. And then we have the water heater over in the corner here. You can see the hot and cold lines, red and blue. This seems to be pretty clean install here. And then we have the pan that we like to see. We have this PVC basically running the water away from the box. It'd be nice to have a little elbow at the bottom there too, so the water goes this way instead of straight down. But at least it doesn't run down the box. And then we like to see the sediment trap here. So yeah, good looking garage, very good size as well for a 3-car. And then this door is fire rated. It should close on its own. Let's see if that's the case. We can watch it in the mirror. Yep, nice solid close there. That's good to see, especially when they've changed out the hardware on it to the black matte. It's good to see that it does have a nice strong close. And this is fire rated. Essentially what that does is if something catches on fire in your garage, this door takes a really long time for the fire to actually get through the door, as opposed to if it was one of these doors, the fire would hit it and it would burn up pretty quick and move into the house. So that would just keep fires isolated into the garage if, you know, that was something that happened. So we do have this full bath here, but we'll start heading over to these back 2 bedrooms. So we have bedroom here. They're kind of mirrors of each other flipped. They both have walk-in closets. This is going to be the smaller of the 2. No window coverings in this home, so you will be supplying your own blinds. Something we see a lot in model homes. Just lets a lot of light in. The LED there, we are wired for the ceiling fan. Again, these 6-inch modern baseboards I love to see. Even on new construction still, like if you buy a KB home, some of these homes that are in, I guess, older communities where they're still building out, like KB and Inspirata, you're still gonna get that 3-inch, you know, wavy baseboard. They haven't switched out to modern yet, which is kind of interesting. But on some of the new builds, Lennar over in Black Mountain, they're putting in a really nice modern baseboard there. And it does make a big difference on the look and feel of the home. But you can see here, we have the modern baseboard and then the traditional, this is kind of the look I'm talking about. On the modern homes, you will have that modern edge door frame as well. And behind this door, we do have the walk-in closet. Attic access right there. And then yeah, pretty good sized walk-in closet for this secondary bedroom here. And this is bedroom number 2. And I love this flooring, this vinyl flooring. And they do have a grout line. So what they've been doing is actually creating this faux grout line on these vinyl to make it look more like tile. So that's kind of a new thing we're seeing recently with a lot of the homes. And we'll swing around this way and start to talk a little bit about that buyer commission. So in the past, buyer commission has always been basically paid for by the seller for the most part. Now there's always exceptions, but I'm just talking generalities here. And the way it works is when we list a home, we go to the seller and we say, Mr. Seller, to list your home, it's gonna be 6%. And of course it's always negotiable, but we're just gonna use 6% as a placeholder because that tends to be kind of the average to list a home. And the way that works is Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, it's gonna be 6% to list your home. 3% is going to go to myself as the listing agent, and then 3% we're going to offer to the buyer's agent as a finder's fee compensation for the buyer's agent bringing their buyer. So as a buyer's agent, we show you a bunch of homes, and when we sit in my buyer's consultation, I really will talk about all of the things that I do as a buyer's agent, from explaining the process to you, working with the lender to get you pre-qualified, searching homes, vetting the homes for you, taking you out to the homes to actually unlock the door and show you the homes in person. Then we have to negotiate the contract. We have to facilitate the inspection, review the inspection report, request the repairs on the home, make sure the repairs are done, work with the the lender to get the appraisal out. Continue working with the lender throughout the entire process to make sure you get the funds for the home. We have to do the walkthrough with you. We have to negotiate the appraisal if that becomes an issue. We're going to be walking into the full bathroom here. We go to the signing. We talk to title. We coordinate with title. We coordinate with the lender. We coordinate with the seller and the seller's agent. So we do all of these things, and that's just a small portion of what it actually takes to sell a house as a buyer's agent. And when we sit down and talk about that in my office before we even go look at homes, these are some of the things that we're going to talk about. But essentially, we're going to offer 3%. This is a really nice shower here. I haven't seen anything like this. This is actually fiberglass, but they have this soapbox built in, and it all looks to be tile. What do you think of that? We do have the porcelain tub here that's been refinished, and they redid all of the black matte hardware on it. But yeah, that's a fiberglass shower enclosure that looks like tile. And easy to clean, there's no seams. You know, you just have the little grooves here, but yeah, that's super clean. I really like that. So yeah, essentially, that's what they're going to offer as a finder's fee or the buyer compensation. And that's always been listed with the home in the MLS, which is the multiple listing service, which is where realtors search for homes and find homes for their clients. has the most accurate, up-to-date information, plus all of the extra information that the realtors need to know. As far as like, do we schedule an appointment with you? Can we just walk in? This home is called a key any. It's vacant, so basically anyone between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. that is a realtor that has a Sentry lock, which is how we access the home with our app on our phone. We open the box up, get the key out, we can come in anytime we want. So if you're a client and you want to see this home, we have white shaker cabinets with the black matte hardware there. Let's see if it's soft close. It should be. Everything looks to be new. Yeah, looking real good. So this is going to be the full bathroom shared with those three bedrooms out here. And we'll walk over towards the primary bedroom. So yeah, so that's how we access the homes, and we see them on the MLS with all the extra information, including that buyer compensation. Well, essentially what's going to happen is as of the 31st of July, that compensation will no longer be available for the buyer's agent. So essentially, we have to come to some sort of agreement on how I'm going to get paid as a buyer's agent, because we can all agree that I'm not going to work for free. I make a living. This is how I pay for my home, pay for my family. It's not just YouTube for me personally. I sell a lot of houses, and those are what basically support my life and my family. So I can't work for free, so we have to figure out how we get around that moving forward in the future. And lucky for me, the way I run my business and the way a lot of strong agents do is it's not going to change a whole lot. The way it works is going to change, but how it works is not really going to be too much different. So essentially moving forward, those compensations are no longer going to be offered to the buyer's agent. So when you're looking at homes, you're essentially going to be on the hook as a buyer. This is a nice big room. I love the window. You can see the private backyard. I like the architecture here, the vaulted ceiling fan. So yeah, as a buyer, now you're going to be responsible for paying that buyer compensation. That's what the whole lawsuit was. That's what they come to the agreement of, is basically you're going to be responsible for paying your agent. The seller will pay their agent. The DOJ decoupled commissions. Therefore, the seller cannot pay a buyer's agent commission moving forward. So what does that mean to you? So that means basically you're going to be looking at 2.5%, 3% extra on the cost of your home, in addition to the down payment, which could be anywhere from 3.5% for FHA, 5% for conventional, or up to as much as you're putting down as a down payment, plus your closing costs, which are usually 2 to 3% of the price of the home. And now you have an extra 2 to 3% based on what your buyer's agent is requesting that you pay for. Now, that's bad news for first-time home buyers especially, because a lot of first-time home buyers were really stretching the budget to get them into a home. Homes are expensive, interest rates are high, 6.77 as of the making of this video. I absolutely love this shower. I love this kind of bamboo look tile, the open concept. We have like a 2.5-inch threshold there going in, the drain, the white tile on each side with the windows, no bubble glass, even though it is $19.99. Yeah, this is exceptional. And then we have that same black cabinet we saw in the laundry room with the gold hardware there. And this is where a gold and black mix looks really good. So yeah, I absolutely love this. So yeah, so basically as of the 31st of July in Las Vegas, you're going to be responsible for paying your buyer's commission. Now I know it sounds like a bummer. However, this is where you need a strong buyer's agent. You need someone who knows what they're doing, knows how to navigate the market, and has been running their business this way for years and years, to where it's not going to affect you as much or potentially at all as a buyer. So we do have a walk-in closet here. It does wrap around. I know this is a lot of information at once, but you can back up and listen to this again. I'm trying to be as streamlined and kind of make sense of it all for you as I can, without using a lot of insider terms and things that just kind of the way we talk as realtors and lenders and people inside the business. So Essentially, how do we get you to not have to pay that buyer's commission? And that's where I come in. So the first thing we got to do is we have to sit down in my office and we have to talk. And that's where I've always started all of my home shopping experiences. It is, after all, the biggest purchase you're going to make in your life for the most part. Again, there's always exceptions, but for the most part, this is the biggest purchase. We do have a little water closet here tucked away with a door for privacy. Oops, I like that. I did just smack the camera. Yeah, so the buying experience always starts in my office. I have an office on Horizon Ridge, Simply Vegas. You meet me in there, we schedule a time, it takes about an hour, we sit down, we start to talk about the process. We're gonna talk about the costs involved. We're gonna get you pre-qualified before you show up to that meeting so we can be as efficient as possible, save your time, save my time. We're gonna know what we're looking for. And you know, the last thing I wanna do is show you homes that are $700,000 because that's what you think you're gonna afford. And then let's say you get approved for $600,000. There's gonna be a big difference between $600,000 and $700,000 when it comes to homes. So this is gonna be the dining room here. I do love this light. So we sit down, we talk about the whole process, we talk about what to expect, and then we talk about the documentation. And that's where we're gonna save you that buyer's commission. And how do we do that? So essentially, moving forward in my business, I'm requiring a buyer brokerage agreement to be signed with every client before I even show you homes. The reason being is after August 17th, we're a little ahead of here in Las Vegas. August 17th, across the entire nation, you will be required to sign a buyer brokerage agreement in order to even view homes with a realtor. And what that means is you're basically gonna have to choose a realtor to work with, and you're gonna be working with them to buy your home. So make sure you sit down and you have that meeting, you like the realtor, they tell you the right things, and you feel comfortable that they're gonna be able to help you through the experience. Because it's not something where you're gonna be able to change realtors real quick, go from here to there. You're also not gonna be able to call a realtor and say, hey, can you show me this house real quick? I wanna see it. It's not gonna be a thing. It's illegal after August 17th, and you need to be, it's a highly regulated industry, and we need to be in compliance. So starting now with my business, I require that buyer brokerage agreement. In the past, you know, if you want to work with me, let's work together. We'll get to the buyer brokerage agreement. There's ways of, you know, everyone's a little bit different, but with the new regulations, we are required to sign that. So we're gonna look at that when we sit down in my office for about an hour. We're gonna look at this buyer brokerage agreement. And what is it gonna say? It's basically gonna say that you're agreeing to work with me as a buyer. I'm not gonna talk too much about the kitchen because I do have a bit of this information left to give you. So we'll just look around. I do like how there's black mat underneath the island. This is a very interesting island considering it's a new island. And I don't think I've seen this style before. Let me know in the comments below if you like the island looking like this with the two tiers, one for stools and then one for cooking. Also, if it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss these tours or this great information like I'm telling you today. Hit that subscribe button, costs no money. You can unsubscribe at any time, but it'll keep you informed on my videos and when I post them. Also, if you love these videos, like my channel, just go ahead and give me a quick thumbs up at the bottom. You like this house, really supports my channel, supports me, lets YouTube know you like these videos and you want to see more. Big open concept kitchen here. We'll walk through it as we continue to talk about this buyer brokerage agreement. So you're agreeing to work with me as a buyer, and I'm agreeing to work with you as your real estate agent. Now, you don't pay me a dime until you close on a home, okay? That's the first thing. So unless I succeed in my job, I don't get paid. So there's my motivation. I'm gonna find you a great home. We're gonna get you in there. We're gonna get you into contract. And more importantly, we're gonna hand you the keys and you're gonna walk in that home. Until that happens, I don't make a dime and it doesn't cost you any money to me, okay? There are gonna be some costs throughout the escrow process as far as the inspection, the appraisal that are non-refundable. So you're really gonna have to make sure you do like the house that you're moving forward with. Nice tile backsplash there. So, but that's not what this conversation is. So in that buyer brokerage agreement, we're gonna agree to work together. And there's gonna be terms on how that plays out. And then the biggest part down there is it's gonna say, I'm gonna earn 3% on the purchase of your home. And essentially by signing that contract, you're agreeing to pay me 3% of the purchase price of the home upon closing as my buyer commission. Now, why 3%? Well, again, 3% is kind of the standard that I work on. It's always negotiable, but my contract's gonna say 3%. And why does it say that? So essentially, as a buyer's agent moving forward with the new rules, I can only make as much money as that paper states. So if for some reason the seller is offering a concession, which we'll talk a little bit about in a moment, if they're offering a concession of 4%, I can only earn 3% and you're gonna get the other 1% towards your closing costs. So that is a cool thing. But it is gonna say 3%. And what that essentially is going to do is it's going to change the buyer commission of 3% into a material fact closing cost. So what we've done with this contract is we've essentially turned that 3% commission into a closing cost for you. And why is that important? Because sellers are allowed to contribute to your closing cost. They're not allowed to pay a buyer commission, but they are allowed to pay that 3% closing cost, okay? I do like this oven. Not like the professional super upgraded, but it is a nice high-end oven for this type of gas range oven combo. And that is a Samsung. Looks to be a very new type as well. All Samsung appliances here. So when we turn that buyer commission into a material fact closing cost, the seller now can concess that into the deal. So again, we all agree that buyer's agents have to be paid something. So we're going to negotiate that into the deal. And that's where we can save you the money. So now instead of having to pull the money out of your pocket, we can have the seller pay it just like they always did in the past. It's just going to look a little bit different, and it's going to come in the form of a concession towards your closing costs. Now, all sellers are not going to be offering those concessions. Okay? There's going to be a lot of agents out here telling sellers or trying to get listings saying, oh, now you don't have to pay a buyer commission. So you can list with me. It's only going to be 3% or 2% or whatever they negotiate, and you don't have to pay a buyer commission. The problem is they're setting their seller up to fail. Because when we have that document signed and it's a material fact closing cost, I'm going to call the agent and say, how much is your seller willing to concess to my buyer for closing costs? And that's essentially what's going to pay for that commission to me. And that's how we save you the money. You won't pay it out of pocket. It's going to be wrapped into the entire deal. The other thing that's going to happen, much like I always wrap in the home warranty to the deal, I basically tell all of my when I'm a buyer's agent, I have all of the sellers pay for a home warranty for the first year, so this entire house is covered on a home warranty. Any appliance, anything breaks, you call them, you pay a small fee, they come out and they fix it. So similar to that, we work that right into the deal. We have a nice covered patio here. We have a little friend right here. Let's see if he's not going to run away. Just a little lizard there. And that's how we're going to do it. We're going to keep that money out of your pocket. Now, another thing lenders are doing, and with a VA loan, essentially VA loans are a zero down loan. You can pay $1 down and buy a house if you're a VA and you're getting a VA loan. How are they going to pay buyer commission if they're planning on just paying $1 down and you don't have a lot of money in the bank? You have to pay your closing costs. Well, the lenders on VA loans, conventional FHA, they're actually allowing the 3% to be rolled into the loan as well. So if there's a situation, let's say this house here, $685, and the seller, I'm not saying this is the case here, but let's say the listing agent says to the seller, you only have to pay 3% to sell this house. That's all it's going to cost you. And you're going to get $685 for it or potentially more. So we go in, we offer $685 on this house. We give them a call. We say, hey, how much is your seller concession for this home? Because we have a contract that says 3% to the buyer's agent, material fact closing cost. And they say, we are not offering a penny to concessions. You pay us full price and nothing else. Well, then we have to talk and you have a choice. If you really want to buy the house, then we can negotiate what kind of commission I would earn on it and we'd wrap it into your loan. So that's the worst case scenario. But really what we're trying to do is look for sellers that are offering a concession to your home. Now, someone who's really good at math or just kind of savvy and thinking about it would say, well, aren't I just kind of paying for that anyways because they're going to raise the price of the house? Well, essentially that's what it's always been. Because typically with sellers, we work with the bottom line, which says, you know, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, here's what your home you want to sell it for. Here are all the costs, and here's your net gain at the end of the transaction. Here's what you're going to put in your pocket. So it always has been factored in to the price of the home. The sellers are always interested in what they put in their pocket at the end of the sale, not necessarily how much they're paying for commission or how much they're selling the home for. So that's kind of a misconception that we're going to have to get over, is that it's not really going to affect the home price because well, it's not going to change the home price because it always has affected the home price. So that's basically how it works. I hope I covered enough of that to make sense. Of course, give me a call. We can talk more in depth about this. But I'm Andrew Guiant with Simply Vegas. Leave me a like. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I was talking a lot about, you know, a lot of these technical things, but I just thought you should be informed and know. And why not do it while we're looking at a beautiful house instead of just, you know, watching me sit at a desk and talk about it. I thought this would be more fun. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please, leave me a like. Please subscribe. Leave me a comment, and most importantly, give me a call if you have questions. If you want to schedule that buyer consultation, we can get you with lenders right away. And that pre-qual process is literally a phone call, a credit, you know, they run your credit, ask you a few questions, and you can usually get the pre-qual started, which is what we require to sit down at that buyer's consultation. So I'm Andrew Guiant with Simply Vegas. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.